What's up, everybody? What's up? Welcome to episode 100 of the damn Q&As. Glad you could make it. I'm so happy you decided to click on this video while it's still public before it goes unlisted. Actually, episode 100 it's not 100% accurate. It's actually, in a sense, episode 99. It's just a long time ago, about a year, maybe two ago, I made a Q&A, and it got interrupted. I got disconnected, and all of a sudden, the internet came back, and I made a part 2. So one episode became 2 parts. It's kind of not fair to call this episode 100, but the playlist says, as of today, as of this Q&A, that it's got 100 videos, right? So let's just go with that to avoid confusion and call this episode 100. Thank you for joining, everybody. Let me drink some goddamn water. You like Batman? The music, the NES? Remember Batman on the NES? Remember the 80s? Thank you, Fritz. Gerald. Okuni says only in Japan. Only in Japan, then. I feel like the camera is like, something's wrong here. What if I... Yeah, that seems a little bit better, right? Better. Damn nostalgia, that song. I'm pretty nostalgic for that song, you know. I mean, this is one of those games, Batman, that... I'm not gonna waste your time talking about it because most of you don't give a rat's ass about Batman on the NES. But just something real quick, maybe you can relate. I never thought this game was like the masterpiece everybody says it is nowadays. Back in the day, everybody knew it was a good game, but it was a really... Everybody also knew it was a really, really hard as nails, extremely unfair video game. And nobody I knew back then had ever finished the game. Nobody knew how to beat it. If you made it to the Joker at the end, to the final boss, it was like, holy crap, you made it, but you know, that someone still died. Nobody I knew beat the game. So the game developed a reputation of being hardcore, tough as nails, and I don't remember seeing anybody saying, oh my god, Batman on the NES, what an amazing game, it's one of the best on the NES. No. It's a great game for sure, and I really like it, and I'm very nostalgic for it, but I wouldn't say it's like one of the best on the NES. Not really, that's just my opinion though. It's not really for being hard. Even if it wasn't that hard, it still wouldn't be that great. And all of a sudden, time passed, and the internet made it. It's one of those games. Maybe I should make a video about that, it will be interesting. Not really a top 10, because there's just a crap ton of games that have been in the same situation. I don't know, like games that were not really popular back in the day, and now they are. Like, they became maybe cult classics. That's the definition of a cult classic, right? Like when something comes out and it fails, or it succeeds but it's not that great, and then over time, people start saying more and more and more. Like the Big Lebowski movie. Have you guys seen the Big Lebowski movie? That's a movie that when it came out, it was like, nobody gave a damn about it. Nobody talked about it. Mixed reviews. Nobody gave a shit about the movie. And then over time, you know, people started loving it and recommending it and talking about it, and nowadays it's a cult classic. So yeah, maybe a compilation. Oh, I shouldn't have said that, man. Shouldn't have said that, you know. 10,000... YouTube channels are gonna steal that idea now. Still, it's not the type of video that I want to keep doing. Will be interesting for a compilation though. I think the best way to go when it comes to certain videos is make compilations. Like I did the top 50 short JRPGs list. I was like, okay, I don't want to make a top 10 anymore about this. I already made a few of them before. So let's do a top 50. Today's a special episode. I have some announcements to make. and I wanted to do something special, but not that special because we already did something pretty fucking special last Sunday. We celebrated the 100,000 subscribers, which is great, even though my views are still kind of down and I'm still kind of blacklisted on the website. So in reality, there was barely anything to celebrate, but it just felt great, didn't it? Like, wow, we were all a part of this achievement. We reached that freaking number. Most of you have been seeing me since I had like maybe 10, 20, 30,000 subscribers, and now... So it feels like we all came to this today, to last Sunday. I mean, like, to celebrate something. It was awesome, right? So I was like, man, I have 100,000 subscribers, and then in about a month, I'm gonna be 15 years old on YouTube. We're gonna have to do some kind of celebration for that. But then episode 100 of the Q&As today, man, so many celebrations, right? So we're gonna treat this as just another episode, but there's gonna be something special. But it's gonna be a bit of a surprise. I'm not gonna say anything. Man. So let's begin with your goddamn questions. Sorry it took me 6 freaking minutes to get to them. Have you played any movie tie-in games that was god-awful? Let me think. Like games based on movies that were god-awful. There's a lot of that on the NES era, SNES era. A lot of games developed by Ocean, or those companies published by LJN, I'm sorry. So, yeah. The one that I did play in Back to the Future was, oh my god, man, I did play that when I was little at a friend's house, and we were so excited because the guy rented the game, and he invited us over, and we went there and played Back to the Future on the NES, and we had a great time because we were laughing at how bad the game was, and we were making jokes about it, right? But it was a fun day, but yeah, the game was freaking awful, man, and it still is nowadays. Oh, man. But I don't know what else. There's gotta be something else. Well, no, this is not Spider-Man, no. The games I played were based on the comic series, stuff like that, not really on the movies. I did play one based on the Tobey Maguire movie, which is on the PlayStation 2, but it wasn't bad, it was just okay, it wasn't god-awful. Can't think of another game right now that I actually played and suffered through it. That was based on a movie. Okay, here's one. Royal Rabbit. Oh man, so imagine that game is in English, and it's pretty much half a point-and-click game. You gotta find clues and then talk to people, stuff like that. And I remember that when we rented the game, we were fans of the movie, and it was, oh man, we didn't know English. My siblings and I were a bunch of 7, 6-year-old kids. We played the game and we were like so frustrated. Oh, here's another one. Cool World on the SNES. We were big fans of the movie, man, and I got my hands on that game. It wasn't a rental. I got the game, and one of the worst freaking games I've played my whole life, man. Awful game, an insult to the movie. Yeah. Anyway, good question. Spider-Man 1. I did play Spider-Man 1 on the PlayStation 1. That was pretty interesting. How many games do you have for the PS5 so far? I think you can see them in the back. Can you see them in the back? Right there with the Persona 3 edition. So there's 1, 2, 3. No, okay, that's the same game. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is Cry Machina PS5? I don't remember. I think it is 9. 9. Physical. Digital, I have like 10 more. Yeah, physical. Do you like watching thunderstorms? What kind of question is that? What do you think is a reasonable price for a remake remaster? The Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. I don't know if it's a remake. It's gonna be $60, and that sparked the debate again. Well, you know how Nintendo is. You know what? I kind of don't want to talk about remakes right now. But I feel like I need to, because a lot of you are gonna wonder later. You're gonna find out something happened in my channel, and you're gonna see like, what the hell, right? Like, I don't want to talk about this, but I will, because I know, because of that. I mean, I guess I owe you an explanation. So I just deleted this morning my top 10 best JRPG remakes so far. It was a massive failure of a video, and it was because of several reasons. One of those, I've seen videos that I've done in the past fail for one reason, maybe two. And okay, I get it, right? But this video was like 10,000 things at the same time. And this thing is related to your question, Gaming G. I'm getting there. Be patient. I'll answer that question. I feel like there's a lot of confusion. Well, okay, first let me tell you why I deleted the video. Well, I deleted the video because I just can't stand videos like that fail. I can't stand them, you know. Those videos are supposed to be like kind of generic. They're kind of like the ones a lot of people click on, because, you know, it's something about modern JRPGs. And there was like Final Fantasy VII Remake and Star Ocean and Persona 3, and it was like, okay, so I'm gonna put this video together, you know. I have been planning that video for a long time. About 3 years ago, I said to myself, I want to make a top 10 best JRPG remasters, but another one called best JRPG remakes. But then since then, I started noticing that, man, it's just ridiculous how many people can't tell the difference between a remaster and a remake. And it used to piss me off. But nowadays I'm like, I see games like Nier Replicant or like Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, and I'm like, with games like that, I'm like, what is this? Is this a remix? I'm just saying that some remasters nowadays are so freaking good, and there's so many new things to them that a lot of people don't know if they're remakes or remasters. And the freaking developers are to blame, because they don't go out there and tell you, hey, this is a remake or this is a remaster. Instead, they do Star Ocean, the second story, R. What is R? What does R stand for, Square Enix? Remake or remaster? You know, I can tell for a fact because I'm pretty fucking knowledgeable. No, I'm not, but, you know, I have experience. You know, this is what I do for a living. This is my job, so I need to know. I do my research, right? And Star Ocean, the second story that came out last year, is a remake. The game was redone from scratch. They didn't remaster something already done. They started the game from zero, okay? And they just used the script of the original game. That's all they did, but everything else was remade. So that's a remake. I can tell you that for certain. But putting the R in there in the title instead of Final... Why not be like Final Fantasy VII Remake, right? Instead, R. So it pisses me off, man, and it kept bothering me year after year after year until... You know what I did earlier this year? I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm not gonna do a top 10. All I'm gonna do is gather a lot of clips from my old videos where I talked about remasters and put them together in a compilation. That's what I did. That was my first video of this year, of January, at the beginning. Thank you, Nemo Propaganda, for the donation. So I made that compilation and it was successful. It was an hour-long compilation. I was like, man, this is gonna fail miserably, because a lot of people are gonna be saying like, oh, where's Star Ocean? Where's Super Mario RPG? Where, like, wait, dude, those are remakes, you know? But I kind of mentioned at the beginning there will be no remakes, and I put those two. And then at the end, I mentioned Nier Replicant and God Eater Resurrection. I was like, guys, I'm not sure about these two. They seem like remakes to me, but that's never been confirmed. And you go to Wikipedia and they're treated as remasters, so it's just this. What I'm trying to say is that this is generating a lot of confusion. And so I said to myself, you know what? I made a remasters compilation. I feel like I owe my audience, I owe you guys like a video about remakes to differentiate them both, so you can have both videos and say, oh, these are remakes and these are remasters, right? But in the remix video, I put Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I put Nier Replicant in there. And they aren't exactly 100% remade from scratch. You know, they really reused a lot of assets. and they shouldn't have been there. But then, what video do they belong to? Like, maybe I'm gonna have to do a video later called Top 10 JRPGs that are both a remake and a remaster, or they're kinda, no one's gonna watch that, right? So I got like frustrated, man. Still, I try my best. I came up with the best list that I could. I was honest, you know, I wasn't going to put Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on the first places. I'm not sorry. You know, I haven't played the game. I played the original, and in my opinion, it's not deserving of the first place. And apparently that must have pissed a lot of people off. And then during the Persona 3 segment, you know, I criticized the censored scene. Probably pissed a lot of the fucking wokies out there. And YouTube, when their precious fucking wokies are pissed off, oh my god, it shadow bans the fucking video. And then I admitted, you know, I opened the video with several games that I know for a fact most of you don't give a shit. Live Alive, I do recommend the game, guys, but I know for a fact you're not gonna play it. Front Mission, you guys don't give a shit. Well, some of you do, of course, right? But it's the kind of game most people don't care about. And then what else was there? I mean, Trials of Mana, I had already talked about it a million times, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people just clicked away. So several things made the video fail. But one of the main reasons... Oh, and I deleted the video this morning, you know, I just can't stand it, you know, it was a fucking massive failure, and I want to talk about this later on. Right now, let me finish my rant, because that was an interesting question. I mean, why this endless debate about the cost of a remaster or a remake, right? And this is connected to my video, you know, because one of the reasons why I deleted my video is because I didn't feel comfortable with it. It was a failure, and I was like, when I watched the video, when I finished the video, when I uploaded the video and then watched it again, I was like, something's off with this video. Like, I don't know, like, 2 games shouldn't be here. And I immediately noticed the problem that maybe the video was too soon, because if you watch the video, you noticed it. There's barely any remakes. There's a crap ton of remasters, and you can watch, again, my remasters compilation on modern systems. Man, there's over 50 JRPGs that have been remastered in the past few years. Over 50. And I missed a lot of them. A lot of JRPG remasters were in that compilation. But when I started doing this remix video, I struggled with the list. I was like, dude, I don't even have 15. I was like, what else is there? Atelier Marie? I didn't play that. What the fuck else was there? Some Pokemon games were remade. I'm not a fan of Pokemon. I'm not gonna include those. What else is there? Still, I made the list because I want to talk about Persona 3 Reload and mention again some of the remakes and blah blah blah. But it kept me thinking, you know, there's barely any remakes. Like, remakes. Dude, look, you're just proving my point, man. Final Fantasy 12 is not a remake, that's a remaster. So, I watched my own video and I was like, people don't know the difference between a remake and a remaster. They just don't. And I made a video about this a long time ago on my second channel, but I feel like even if I did a video for my main channel, most people still wouldn't know the difference. I feel like developers themselves, not just YouTube, or maybe big influencers, like big YouTubers, you know, these guys need to come out and say and explain the difference to you, so their videos can have millions of views, and therefore now millions of people, you know, with their comments, you know, they will influence the internet, and finally more people will be informed of the difference between both, okay? But I really do believe that the developers themselves need to stop pulling this shit, man. Like Star Ocean, the second story, R. Don't call it R, man. Tell the people what it is, so they can know. Oh, this is a remake. They didn't do anything with Super Mario RPG. They just called it Super Mario RPG. Why not just Super Mario RPG Remake, so people can know the difference? And so I made that video, the top 10, and I didn't read the comments, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people were like, where's this game? Where's this that? Where's Final Fantasy 12? And man, I was like, man, those are remasters, but I'm pretty sure because of this confusion, a lot of people are gonna be wondering, where's this and that game? So I deleted the video, guys. There's no point in making a video about a topic that's got people confused, and that most people are ignorant about. They can't tell the difference between a remake and a remaster. Okay. And I'm not blaming you. I'm not telling you you're a fucking idiot. No, I mean, you need to be a little bit more knowledgeable and understand assets, understand like resolutions, frame rate, understand like technicalities of a video game, like to know about sprites, to know about 3D models. Yeah, most of you don't know what I'm talking about. I can't blame you, right? I can't blame you for being confused, which is why I think people that are far more knowledgeable than me, including the developers themselves, should go out and explain the difference. But instead, what they do, call their games R. Or just the title of the game as if it was a freaking reboot. At least Square Enix had the decency to call Final Fantasy VII Remake as a remake. And if you check on the box, if you have the physical version, it says remake. But then Rebirth says Rebirth. It's not Final Fantasy VII Remake Rebirth or Part 2. No, it's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Like, what the... So, yeah, the video is gone, guys. So now, sorry for the long-winded rant. To answer your question, man, how much should a remake or a remaster cost? Well, there's your answer. People don't even know the difference, man. But in my opinion, as someone who can actually tell the difference, I think a remake is okay to be priced almost the same as a regular game, because it's also a new game. A remake is a new game. A company made it from scratch, and they spent a crap ton of money. It's a game they rebuilt. It's just that using the same script, the same characters, right? But they redid everything. It's redoing a game from scratch. So in my opinion, I think it's justified that a remake should cost the same as a normal release, as a standard new game. A remaster, however, I'm with you guys. It has no freaking reason to cost $60 or $70. That's just ridiculous. In my opinion, a remaster should cost half of that, like $40 max, maybe $50. Like Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne Remaster, when it came out, I don't remember how much it was in the US or in Canada. I live in Mexico, remember that? But when it came out, it was $60. And I was like, what the fuck, Atlus? This is just a remaster. It's not a remake. You didn't redo the game from scratch. All you did was you use the same game and embellish it. And make it a little bit better. Improve it. You painted over it. But you didn't redo anything from scratch. And you want $60 for it? That's just ridiculous, right? It's just... But then, what I'm trying to say is that because of this ignorance, I believe companies are taking advantage of it, right? Since they realized most people can't tell the difference between a remake and a remaster, they're taking advantage of it. They're like, oh no, this is a brand new game. People are gonna believe this is a remake. They don't know the difference, so let's just put it on $80. Who cares? They're gonna pay for it anyway. That's it. That's the end of my rant. Thank you for not unsubscribing or disliking this video. But if you did, you're probably gone. Anyway, are you gonna remake? Are you gonna remake your video or remaster it? Ah, man. No. Like I said, I felt it was the right time to do the video because remakes are kind of trending. We got 2 last year, we got 2 more this year, and I was like, it's the right time to do the video, but apparently it wasn't. I think I need to wait a little bit more. I need to wait for 2 things to happen. More remakes, so the list can be like the 10 best, like the super best ones, like oh my god, like every single game in the list is like freaking top tier. And I also need to wait for people to try and understand a little bit more the difference, because unless big YouTubers or the developers themselves explain the difference to you, I can explain it, but you guys, I mean, I have 91 people watching. Like, I need 9 million people watching right now to explain the difference. And even so, I'm not a technical genius, man. You know, I don't know that much. You know, I won't be able to fully clarify the difference between both. All I'm gonna do is probably confuse you even more. I'm not the right guy to tell you the difference. So, yeah, until that happens, that video is gonna stay gone. Anyway, but if I guess if I talk about one of those games again in the future, I'll just use the same clip, since it's already there. But yeah, it broke my fucking heart to see that video fail. I was like, what's wrong with it? And also made me rethink about the future. And I don't know if you read my blog. You can go there, and the link to my blog is pretty much my official website. I had abandoned it for so many years, but I revived it about a month ago, about 2-3 weeks ago. Check it out, link in the description to my blog. There's a big explanation on the future of my channel, and some changes are coming, and I'm gonna have to take the channel into a different direction. Still gonna be RPG focused, because I mean, I can't help it, man. I love RPGs, and I can't just dedicate a bunch of entire videos to games that are not really RPGs. This is my passion, and I'm pretty knowledgeable in RPGs. I'm not nowhere near as knowledgeable as in platformers or fighting games even, or environmental puzzles or other genres, you know. I could never really make successful videos about other genres, I believe. And my passion and my knowledge and my expertise are on role-playing games, so this channel is gonna be almost 100% focused, not like 95% focused on RPGs. Don't worry, that's not gonna go anywhere. But yeah, this channel is you're gonna start noticing some changes, some different things, some new stuff in there. If you like it, that's cool, thanks. If you don't, I get it, you know, change isn't for everybody, but that's the reality, man. I can't just continue making top 10s. I will continue making top 10s, but just not on a regular basis anymore. I want to focus on other type of content, and there's just so much, like I'm tired. I want to be transparent with you guys. I want to be completely open. I'm fucking tired of seeing some of the algorithm of uploading a video and then waiting several hours and turning my TV or my computer to see how it's going and seeing that it's doing poorly. You know, I'm just tired of that. I'm tired of having to worry about views and algorithms. You know, I'm fucking tired of that, man. I'm done. I can't take it anymore, and it's put such a big freaking pressure on me that, especially now that I have over 100,000 subscribers, it feels like, man, like it feels like naturally I need to have like more views or something like that, but that's not happening, you know. I still have a bunch of videos that have been failing over the past few weeks. So, and I'm just tired, you know. I kind of want to take the channel into the direction I want. I want to cover the games that I want to talk about, and if the video succeeds, cool, and if it doesn't, well, yeah, I mean, it's not that I'm not gonna care. I'm still gonna feel bad for it, but I need to try to find something else to do, because I've had it with the current state of my channel. It's just uploading a video like the 1 and 2, like top 10 JRPG remakes, modern remakes, and then see it fail miserably. That's something I've experienced like for over a decade, man. For 10 years. And I'm tired of it. So I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck I want from now on. Yeah, and still I'm gonna try my best, and I'm not gonna fill the channel with filler content or anything. I'm just gonna do what I want and do it well, you know, and do it right. And I'm gonna make videos that I can feel proud of. That I can watch and said, you know, look back and say I made that. Even if it fails, you know, I can like feel proud about it, right? If you guys like it, that's cool. And if you don't, then watch my older videos, I guess. That's the update. Back to your goddamn questions. You're here for the goddamn questions? One last update. I'm sorry. This is short. Well, no, never mind. I haven't decided anything, so I'm not gonna say anything. What is your favorite DS JRPG? And what DS RPG would you give another try? My favorite Nintendo DS JRPG is Radiant Historia. And what DS RPG would you give another try? You mean like a game that I abandoned for some reason? I would like to give Sola to Robo another chance, because that was a really good game, but I never finished it. My problem with that game is I don't have it physically, and playing action RPGs on my computer on emulation sucks. It just sucks. And for that game, when I downloaded the ROM a long time ago and I played it, I couldn't make any of my controllers work for some reason. I made it work with a fighting game for some reason. I don't remember the fighting game. It's a crossover game that has characters from really unknown and obscure games. It has Izuna from the Izuna games on the Nintendo DS. Anybody knows those games? You guys don't. Those are like roguelike RPGs, pretty obscure. Izuna the Unemployed Ninja. Funny games. But yeah, it was a crossover fighting game, and I made it work, the controller, but and none of my controllers would work for any other games for some reason. So I abandoned Toda to Robo, and I'd love to go back to that game, to be honest. That was the part that I played, I loved it, but I felt like I needed to play with an actual controller, to fully enjoy it and experience. Anyway, are you worried about the woke stuff in Eiyuden Chronicle? Yeah, I've talked about that before. I think it was like last year or earlier this year. There was for the first years there were only 2 main characters advertised, like Noah and Zane, the 2 guys, right? For the longest time, for the first years. And all of a sudden, since last year, this character who was always in the background, one of the girls in there, she's been there since the beginning. She didn't just magically appeared out of nowhere and was forcefully included, okay? She was there from the start. But now, all of a sudden, since last year, this black chick is one of the 3 main characters. All of a sudden. No reasons why. And I'm like, okay. Fine. So yeah, I'm very worried. The girl looks cool. I've seen some footage. She looks interesting. Her moves in battle, they look badass. I don't know how much protagonism she's going to have in the game, like how much impact, or I have no idea, man, to be honest. We're just gonna have to wait and see. But I'm not gonna reject the game because of that. But if it starts feeling like too woke and stuff, yeah, I'm probably gonna criticize it. You guys know me, I'm not gonna shut up. So I'll point that out in my review, maybe, or in a video. Anyway, going back to the remakes and remasters, I already answered that question last stream. I remember that they are made out of nostalgia, pretty much. In a lot of companies, instead of focusing 100% in new games, they are bringing back their old games because millions of people, that's what they want. They don't want to play the modern games. They just want to go back to the past, right? Yeah. The primary reason for remastering or remaking anything is nostalgia, although the second reason is pretty much to realize something that couldn't be done before. Something about remasters that a lot of people don't talk about is that some of them, remakes, remasters, are done to pretty much offer a better version of it. Take Persona 3 Reload, for example. Just a quick example, because I'm planning some kind of review of it. I'm gonna have to dedicate a video to that game. I'm about to finish it, and I need to well, man, there's a lot to say about it. So I will revisit what I'm about to say in that video. But what I wanted to say is that I think Atlus decided to remake that game because there were a lot of complaints about it, about the original versions that modern gamers didn't like, and they fixed all of those issues in this remake. So they didn't just remake it. They didn't just remake Persona 3 out of nostalgia. They remake it to maybe deliver the best version they could. Like, maybe they couldn't do this before. I don't know why. Maybe hardware limitations or maybe ideas that went wrong. I don't know. But they did something, they felt they fucked up, and they fixed it, right? So I'm not trying to say that remastering or remaking something is to fix something, but you gotta consider that maybe the intention of some developers is precisely that. Like to offer like a better version of a video game, right? Like, oh, here's this version that I did before, and it didn't age well, or because of the hardware limitations of that era or something else, we couldn't offer like a better version, but now we can. So here's like the definitive version of this game. Okay, so obviously, as you guys know, I'm a big supporter of remakes and remasters. So there you go. I do support them and recommend them out of nostalgia, but also because I feel like some of these remakes and remasters, I like they have a lot of quality of life improvements. Like Chrono Cross, for example. Sure, when it came out, it was a disaster, but only because of the graphics. But if you pay attention to the quality of life features they added in a game like Chrono Cross, I mean, that was freaking awesome, right? And that became pretty much, in my opinion, the definitive version of the game to play. Or Star Ocean: The Second Story. Honestly, backtracking and random encounters and like the crazy ass difficulty spikes, like they were completely removed from this version. And now I feel personally, you may disagree, I feel like this remake is the best version to play of Star Ocean: The Second Story. Like it's like the developers realized what they were trying to do maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Okay, that's just how I see it. A lot of AAA games today suck ass, so companies just remake their old games instead. I think what's happening with AAA games is that, well, apart from the political bullshit, the woke, blah blah blah, I think what's happening is that I've been saying, and I've said this before about Square Enix. I've used Square Enix as an example of how they don't seem to have original ideas anymore, or either because they don't have them, or because they do, but they feel like they're not gonna work. So I think what's happening with AAA games is that almost every single one of them is trying to imitate other successful genres or other successful AAA games from before. Like The Witcher 3 came out, it was a massive success and everybody followed. Final Fantasy 16, that was pretty much a love letter to The Witcher 3 in my opinion. And then Grand Theft Auto, right? And then off they go to create a multiple clones of those. And then there's, well, you name it, Devil May Cry, God of War. You know, it's always, this is something that's been happening for decades, okay? But it feels more overly present nowadays. Like there's less creativity for AAA video games of any genre than before. Because I feel like before, companies were still trying to take risks. Why? Because they weren't making that much money anyway. But nowadays, you know, games are selling millions. Like, weren't we talking about several streams ago that Grand Blue Fantasy Relink sold over 1 million copies in just a few weeks? 10, 20 years ago, that would never have happened, man. That could have happened for a Squaresoft or Square Enix title, maybe Bandai Namco. But Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, had it been released 10 years ago, no way in hell would it have sold 1 million copies in just 2 weeks, man. And nowadays they do. So I guess I'm trying to say that companies are starting to get greedier. Like they care way more about making money than making something original. At least some AAA companies are still trying to... okay, they leave creativity and originality aside, but they put a lot of quality. Some companies, okay, not all of them. If you start mentioning games like Fallout or... what was the name? 76? Or the original release of Cyberpunk, you know, I know that. So that's another problem, okay? But I feel like AAA companies, a lot of them are trying to deliver this product that's completely unoriginal, not creative, a complete freaking shameless ripoff, but a really good quality one. So they're focusing more on quality and graphics and politics, sadly, than in something creative or original. But that's just AAA companies, okay? I don't understand why there's a lot of... well, I guess I kind of do understand why there's a lot of concern about AAA games. A lot of you play those games. Hell, I do too, right? But, man, you shouldn't focus that much on that because there's still a lot of AA games and indies and maybe low-budget games are still hoarding the video game industry with creativity and originality, okay? Or maybe they're trying to bring back some old ideas that weren't that ripped off back in the day, like Unicorn Overlord. In the last Q&A, somebody asked me, how many games are there like Unicorn Overlord? And I was like, oh yeah, Ogre Battle, Grow Lancer, Soul Nomad. And I couldn't think of anything else, and I still can't. So, Even though Unicorn Overlord is pretty much inspired by Ogre Battle, you know, it's its own game. And look at the battle interface, you know, in Ogre Battle it was different, and here it's like in 2D Vanillaware style, so... Yes, games like Unicorn Overlord are using an idea that's been done before, but they're trying to be as original and creative as they can. And in my opinion, they fucking nailed it. So if you start giving the same importance you do to AAA games, to games like Unicorn Overlord, or any other... I know a lot of you are not into strategy RPG, but that was just a random example. You know, I can use other examples, you know. And then you focus on that and you're like, oh, there's still a lot of creativity and originality. It's just most AAA studios don't give a shit about that anymore. All they care about is being inclusive and being accepted by the minorities, pleasing the minorities, but also pleasing the graphic snobs out there in the world that care way more about graphics than anything else. And as long as their games work properly, like Final Fantasy 16, for example, I'm not gonna lie, the combat, the hack and slash, the controls were fucking awesome, right? So at least they made sure to, if you're gonna rip something off, do it right. The end. Is that a good thing? Though, is that like, should AAA developers continue like this? No, not in my opinion. But I don't think that's gonna change. I don't think AAA companies give a fuck about creativity or originality anymore. And apparently YouTubers are the same. Or movies. Or, damn, the entire entertainment industry, in my opinion. Anyway, let's not talk about indie games, because I'm still mad. Indie games have so much woke shit in them. Yeah, but that's true. But the thing about indie games is that there's a lot of them, right? There's a lot to choose from. It's not like they're overwhelming you like AAA games. Like, it's really hard to see nowadays a AAA game without that. It's so hard, man. Even the AA games are like that too, right? But indies, you can still find a crap ton of them that leave politics aside and they just focus on telling a good story and creating original battle mechanics or, okay, classic, traditional gameplay mechanics, but done right. It's hard to find the really, really good ones though, but I made a video about that called Super Obscure RPG Gems. It was kind of focused on indie RPGs. It was also another failure of a video, but it's there in case you want to watch it. I don't think a lot of people care about indie RPGs, sadly. And we talked about this before on how one of the biggest problems with indie RPGs is that the market is just too saturated right now, right? I mean, it was a sensation like 10 years ago, 8 years ago, it was like a sensation, right? They started gaining more popularity over the years, but it eventually exploded. And not only do we have nowadays a crap ton of indie RPGs, but also a crap ton of indie games, a crap ton of AAA games, a crap ton of video games of all genres. It's just a video game saturation, man, all over the planet. So, yeah. But in my opinion, you should care about indie RPGs a little bit more. Do you think that Shin Megami Tensei fits the dark fantasy genre? Because some people consider it to be this way while others don't. It's okay. So dark fantasy is like a pretty open concept. Okay, when most people think of dark fantasy, the first thing that comes to mind is like medieval fantasy with vampires and demons and monsters that look like creepy as hell and stuff like that. Okay, like supernatural. And I get it, right? But the setting is what matters most to them. Like, what's dark fantasy? Oh, medieval. So I'm of the mentality that dark fantasy can be modern and also can be like science fiction and futuristic, because it's still dark fantasy. Some of my books are dark fantasy and they're not medieval, right? I have a book called The Reaper's Thorn. Well, it's kind of like on the 19th century, so I guess it's still dark fantasy. But I have a book called Morgana Code, the dark fantasy is not its focus, but it has elements. So to answer your question, is Shin Megami Tensei dark fantasy? I think it is, and but it's not really the focus of it. But then again, play a game like The Witcher 3, which is a dark fantasy setting. But the focus of The Witcher 3 is not really that. They focus a little bit more on other stuff, you know. But it's still it's still considered as a dark fantasy setting. So Shin Megami Tensei, yes, I'll say it is. They're dark. They're kind of gothic, some of them. And there's I mean, the fact that your character summons demons and creatures and creepy monsters and vampires and stuff like that, you know, and supernatural. I mean, isn't that the definition of dark fantasy? It's still fantasy, but it's dark. So yeah, I will consider the Shin Megami Tensei series as dark fantasy, but I can see why people don't. And it's probably because of what I explained to you, because dark fantasy is usually used for medieval looking settings and scenarios. Thank you, Yasuo. Can't wait to see the YouTube award. Well, if they decide to send it. I talked to them about a couple of days ago, and now in the chat support, and I was like, hey, it's been a week since I surpassed the milestone, so I haven't received a notification. What's going on here? Right? And they were like, oh, the awards team is still reviewing your channel. I'm not even gonna speculate on that. What is with all these releases? Where were they back in the 7th generation? Now all of a sudden every week seemingly something new is out. Yeah. Fear and Hunger is the best indie RPG. I know that game is probably never going to be released on consoles because of the type of game it is, but man, I'd love to play it. But if you guys watched my Eiyuden Chronicle preview review, you noticed. Now you know, I've been saying this for years, and I've been explaining why I don't play on Steam and why I don't cover Steam games. You know that, but now you saw that. If you haven't watched the video, go and watch it. My Eiyuden Chronicle, I got a beta version. There's no demo to the public, okay? This beta version was just for reviewers. And I got one, and you saw me capturing footage. I mean, you saw the gameplay footage that I captured directly from Steam with my computer. And, I mean, there's a frame rate issues because of my computer. The game's not like that, okay? I needed to clarify that because I don't want people to think the game has bugs and it doesn't. The game runs perfectly. It was just my shitty computer. But now you know why I don't cover Steam games. And now you know why I'll probably never play Fear and Hunger until I get a better computer. And that's not gonna happen this year. I have other things, financial things to take care of. How do you feel about the rise of Chinese RPGs like Black Myth Wukong and other upcoming games from China? I haven't played that one, but I have played some Chinese RPGs like the Shan Yuan Sword games, Banner of the Maid, that was Chinese, Sword of the Vagrant, even though that was indie. I like the fact that more countries are getting into the RPG market, because for decades it's always been mostly USA, United States of America, Canada, and Japan. And maybe the occasional Korean game that gets localized. Some European games, right? But now with the rise of indie RPGs, there's like RPGs of freaking from countries that we didn't even know existed. There's this country from there's this game from this country called whatever. And you're like, I didn't know there was a country with. So yeah, and that I think it's a good thing, but it's China, and everybody and their mom has been worried about China for years, for obvious reasons that even little kids know nowadays. So I don't know, but we can't judge the developers because of their country of origin, right? And I'd rather focus on the actual RPGs, not the free-to-play games. I know Genshin Impact is from China. Honkai Rail Star is also a free-to-play massive game from China. I don't care about those games. But if we focus on the games like I don't know the game you mentioned. I don't know that kind of game. But the ones that I mentioned that are like actual games, not free-to-play. You know, you pay for them and you get the full game. I think that's a good thing. But not because they're from China, but because they're from somewhere else that is not Japan. So I hope more countries can start offering RPGs. You know, I'd love to play more Mexican RPGs. I know there's been a few. I know one called Another Crusade, but I didn't play it. I only played the demo again on Steam like 2 years ago, and my computer barely ran it properly. I remember it kept crashing because, you know, it's just this computer can't handle video gaming. I can emulate Game Boy Advance, man, but even Nintendo DS emulator crashes every now and then, and the music fucks out. So my computer's pretty good for some things, but not for gaming, apparently. But that's just me. So yeah, I'm happy that there's been more and more RPGs from all over the world, because we get to see like different stories and different perspectives other than the usual cliches from Japan and the USA or Canada. So that's a good thing. Got any recommendations for a game that will absolutely wreck me emotionally? Persona 3. You already got those. Persona 3 is one of the very few JRPGs in existence that has made me cry. And it's not one of the popular scenes. It's a scene with a random NPC with a little girl. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but since the beginning you learn that her parents are getting divorced. And there's a scene, it just, oh man, it breaks my fucking heart every time, man. I can't hold my tears. Aigis kinda also makes me cry in one scene, but this little girl, Maiko, right, from Persona 3, oh man, no man, I was like, no. A game that will break you emotionally, Chrono Cross. Of course, Chrono Cross, man. That ending is going to destroy you, man. Or that part when you reach Miguel, that's all I'm gonna say. That's also like... But yeah, the ending of Chrono Cross, man, it made me cry too. It was like, it destroyed me, man. It fucking destroyed me. The first time I played Chrono Cross, which was like, man, almost 20 years ago, I think. Oh man, it broke me, man. Lost Odyssey? Okay, yeah, because of the ending, right? Let's not spoil anything, but because of the ending, I get it. But I think Lost Odyssey, in terms of emotions, it shines on the visual novel segments. When you really start seeing Kaim and the other immortals suffering, like they're so tired of being immortal, and the music that plays in there, yeah. I don't think it's gonna break you, Lost Odyssey, but that's another solid recommendation of a game that's kind of like, yeah. What else? Some of I've been recommending this series, the Dot Hack GU trilogy. That's another series that might kind of break you. There's a couple of scenes in there. What else is there? You know, games that are like, could do for a video maybe, but I haven't seen any. I don't know if other YouTubers have done this video, but I get the feeling they have. And I just don't want to be like, make a video about, you know what I mean, Nier Automata? No. Well, Nier Automata I don't think breaks you emotionally, more like psychologically. Just like the original Nier. Like at the end you're like, holy fucking shit. But it's not like, it doesn't break you like, oh, well, maybe kinda, yeah. Nier, the original Nier Replicant, when you learn, oh my god, the truth, yeah, you're right, like, what the fuck? Ah, man. Xenoblade Chronicles 3, oh yeah, the ending, yeah, the ending. No spoilers, but the ending of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, that's... Oh my god. had tears like this, man. In straight lines. Persona 4 didn't break me emotionally. Not really. The House of Fata Morgana is pretty emotional. How will you rate Unicorn Overlord's story? Like 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10? You know, it's one of those games that start off kind of like, it's not that special, but it's one of those starts getting more and more interesting, more interesting and more interesting. So I'd say 8 out of 10. Like, we were just talking about Nier Replica. Nier, I mean, those games had like a 10 out of 10 story, in my opinion. So, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, another example. So yeah, Unicorn Overlord, 8 out of 10 in terms of story. It's an 8, I guess, yeah. What the fuck are we listening to? Oh, Sega Gaga. You know that game? That's a game that never came out of Japan. It was supposed to be a joke, released on the Sega Dreamcast. It's an RPG, but it's a joke, making fun of everything. Never came out of Japan. I've never played it, but the soundtrack is pretty interesting, to say the least. So that's SGGG, Sega Gaga. Fucking name, huh? Nostalgia on the Nintendo DS. I made the interface bigger, because in all of my previous Q&As, my playlist, the bar was like really small, and most people couldn't even see shit. I'm pretty sure now you can. So that's I mean, it doesn't look very appealing, it's just white, but at least that way you can't miss it, right? Nostalgia, Party Battle. There we go. It's fucking loud. Man, it's being too loud, I'm sorry. Tell me, whenever you see that the music's being too loud, let me know. Which version of Persona 3 should I play? Well, I think you should play the remake. But, man, I can't answer that question right now because there's just so much to say about it. I'm planning to dedicate an entire video to that game. You might want to wait for it, and then you'll make your decision. PS Vita versus Nintendo 3DS. You mean in terms of hardware? Like how they look? Obviously the PS Vita looks much better. But the Nintendo 3DS XL, I own that. It's bigger, it's big enough, it feels more comfortable. As soon as I got that, I got rid of my standard regular 3DS version. So I think when it comes to 3DS, the XL version is much better for me because it's not that big, feels perfectly in your hands, and it feels great in there. But I'm a PS Vita guy. So in terms of hardware alone, I think the PS Vita is the better console. Final Fantasy IX, another really emotional game. Yeah, you're right. Did you know there was a Z-LOL for the PS1? Yeah, there's 2 games on PS1. I think they were like... No, the first one is on PS1, and then the second one is on PSP. This one on the PS3 you're talking about is the 3rd game. Not a sequel. It's a standalone game, I think. But yeah, there's 2 more games. One on PS1 and one on PSP. Never came out of Japan. I've never played them. Arc Rise Fantasia has some breaking moments. It does. Oh my god, yeah. Fog, yeah man, that's another really emotional game. Are you into Monster Tamer games? Pokemon? No, not really, no. Who is the most disturbing JRPG villain that made you feel uncomfortable? Well, Luca Blight. And that scene where he humiliates that girl and kills her, that was like, wow, just fuck this guy, man. He needs to go. He needs to die miserably, right? Yeah, immediately, with that question, man, immediately Luca Blight came to mind. Like, what, fuck that guy, man. Sephiroth, too. I know Sephiroth, a lot of people are big fans of it, but to me, I've always seen Sephiroth as a freaking egotistical, self-centered bastard. I understand why he breaks and why he becomes that way. They explain it to you, even in the original, not just in Rebirth. They explain it to you perfectly well in the original game, why Sephiroth became that way, but really fuck that guy. I mean, what he does, burning down, fuck that guy, right? What an asshole. Does the Steam Deck ever go on sale? I have no idea, man. I don't follow Steam Deck sales. I'm not planning on buying one anytime soon. What's your opinion of Dragon Force of Sega Saturn? That's a really unique video game, pretty influential. Not here because the Sega Saturn was a failure, but in Japan that game was kinda huge, and it is considered as one of the most influential strategy games of all time in Japan. That game is a big deal in Japan, man, and it's a really good game, but it takes a while. It takes a while to appreciate it, because it's kinda slow, hard to get into, but it's worth it. Do you think Luke in Suikoden 3 is a good antagonist? He's one of my favorite antagonists, man. But you're not gonna understand much if you don't play Suikoden 1 and 2 first. Because then you understand why he became that way. Talking about Shin Megami Tensei, which philosophy of the sides do you like more? Law, chaos, or neutral? It varies on every game. I'm more on the chaos side of things, but I always pick neutral because I feel like that's like not really the true ending, but the most okay-ish ending, you know? Yeah, most Shin Megami Tensei games I've beaten them first on neutral, and then I go with the other routes to see what they're like. But chaos is usually the more interesting route. I didn't say that I didn't like Sephiroth. I think he's a good antagonist. He's just kind of overrated. He's not that good of an antagonist. He's like Mama's boy. Mama's boy. Okay, so don't you wish Sega, Atari, and Neo Geo were still making consoles? I'll be completely honest with you about Atari and Neo Geo. I don't really care about those systems. The Neo Geo was fantastic. It was the actual true best 16-bit console back then, but it was just too expensive. Nobody had it, nobody knew it. I didn't find out about the existence of the Neo Geo until I was an adult. Atari, I never gave two fucks about it. You know, I didn't grow up with them. Nobody had it. My cousin had it. When I was little, I went to his house and played it, and I was like, man, fuck this shit, man. You know, the NES was much better for me. But Sega. I'd love for Sega to come back to the console market. I don't think that's ever gonna happen, but if they ever do, I hope they do. And I hope they come back with a blast. So yeah, for Sega, yeah, I wish Sega was still making consoles. There's still a part of me that hopes Steamboat Chronicles makes a comeback. Oh yeah, there were only two games, right? PS2 and PSP. The PS2 game was a pretty unique game. I remember. Well, it's kind of weird. I don't think Steamboat Chronicles is for everybody. There's some things about it that a lot of people are gonna say like, "What the hell is this?" Right? But I think it's a very unique game. Certainly one of the most unique RPGs of its time. It's just pretty unique, right? And then there was the PSP title, which was more quest-driven than anything. It's okay at best. It's not a bad game, but it's not great either. It's good. Why Monolith Soft isn't with Sony anymore? Okay, because Tetsuya Takahashi is a person that doesn't like it when companies intervene that much in his creative process. Okay, which is exactly the reason why he first left Squaresoft and then he left Bandai Namco. And now he's with Nintendo, so apparently Nintendo gives him more creative control and he likes that, so that's why. That's my answer to you, man, but Monolith Soft was never with Sony to begin with. Favorite non-humanoid character? Wait a second. Favorite non-human character? Aegis, Persona 3. But non-humanoid, she is a humanoid, so she doesn't count? Is that what you're asking? You mean like favorite, like a dog, like an animal, right? Oh man, Koromaru, Persona 3, Shiro, Suikoden 2, Oh, man. Blanca, Shadow Hearts, Covenant. One of my favorites. Right, just pick 3 dogs. I need to diversify, so I don't offend cats. All I did was pick canines. Man, all the other animals in the planet are gonna get offended because I'm not being inclusive. Red 13, yeah. I'll tell you something about Red 13. When I first played Final Fantasy VII, the original game, and that guy joined the party, it blew my fucking mind. That was one of the first times I saw an RPG with a party member that wasn't human, right? So he joined, I was like, oh my god, yeah. But I'll be completely honest with you, I think it's a bit of a boring character. He doesn't get like a really good development, and most of the time he's just kinda there, to be honest. His little arc is pretty interesting about his tribe and shit. I love the character, don't take me wrong, but he was just kind of boring to me. No, Cornelius from Odin's Sphere, I guess it doesn't count because he's a humanoid. Humanoid as he has the fur and the coat and the head of a monster, of an animal, but he still has like legs and arms and moves like a human, fights like a human. Okay, Peter, I guess Peter, that's what he was trying to ask. Right? Kimari, that's pretty much a humanoid. He gets pretty good development in Rebirth. Yeah, I figured. Everybody's telling me that the Rebirth saved the day for some characters and gave them more background and development and blah blah blah. Yeah. Yup, I like Muggles myself. See? So yeah, well, Muggles are awesome. That guy from Final Fantasy VI. Man, I think Final Fantasy VI is the only game in the series where an actual Muggle is a party member. Right? I mean, is there another one? I mean, Muggles are always there. Right? But I can't... There's... Maybe in a spin-off, there's gotta be a spin-off where a Muggle is a party member, but in the mainline Final Fantasy series, there's just that guy from Final Fantasy VI. Huh. It's like Doggy from the Ys series. He's been there on almost every single Ys game, but he's only a playable character in Ys 7. Which do you prefer, the Chrono Trigger designs or the Cross character designs? You know, Chrono Cross, you know me. It's my favorite game of all time. But I think I prefer the Akira Toriyama character design. Like in 2D, right? Not the models. Because in Chrono Trigger, we got these sprites. And in Chrono Cross, we got these 3D models. So it's something different. But in terms of art style, you know, I like Akira Toriyama's art style a little bit more. Maybe because I grew up with Dragon Ball. Probably because of that. I find the art style pretty and attractive, you know. Anyway, so yeah, that's my answer. As much as I love Cross, I gotta give the character design in terms of art style to Chrono Trigger. Rest in peace, Akira Toriyama. I still can't fucking believe he's gone. I love the cat girl in Breath of Fire 2. Me too, I love her. She was my favorite character in the game. But she's pretty much a humanoid, right? Mara? Seriously? Like, we're gonna start getting to SMT demons? Huh. No, it doesn't count. Yes, fool. Yuna, these guys, doesn't count. Do preenies count from this guy? Yeah? I don't know, I guess so. Then yeah, you know, you're right, I love the fucking preenies. Every freaking Disgaea, your first party member is a preenie. I like that. Do you think that Lucifer from Mega 10 is a sympathetic villain? Well, you mean Nocturne, right? Speaking about Nocturne. Well, he's certainly an intellectual. Very smart. Quite philosophical, right? I think Nocturne gave us a really interesting and unique perspective of that character. Even though it's not an original character, that's a character from a Bible. But sympathetic, I'm not too sure about that though. But yeah, I guess it's hard to relate to him, to the guy in Nocturne, but it's easy to understand. Yeah, not exactly. I wouldn't say sympathetic. That's the wrong word for me. But yeah, I guess it's a bit understandable. You know, it's a pretty interesting and multi-dimensional character. Do I need to play Chrono Trigger before Cross? You know what I'm gonna say, man? I'm gonna say no. Because most people who play Trigger first and then play Cross seem to hate it for some reason. So do what almost every single Chrono Cross fan did, like me. Play Cross first and then Trigger. Trust me, it's gonna be better. Because I feel like if you play Chrono Cross first and then Chrono Trigger, you'll be able to like both. But most people just play Trigger first and then Cross, and they hate Cross for some reason. You know, right? Chrono Cross and Chrono Trigger fans. Man. I'm gonna show you Chrono Cross and Chrono Trigger fans. I'll show you, man. That's Chrono Cross and Chrono Trigger fans. That right there. Perfectly represented. What's the longest non-RPG that you ever played? Oh wow, interesting question. Usually I get what's the longest RPG you've played, not the longest game that's not an RPG that I ever played. Okay, so let me think about it. I feel like I'm gonna cheat, but it's gotta be one of those adventure games with RPG elements. I think a Plague Tale. Innocence. I haven't played the sequel. That's a game that took me like 15 hours to complete, 16 hours, around that time frame. Pretty long for merely an adventure game, right? That's not an RPG. Has some RPG elements, but not really an RPG. I guess that will be my answer, you know. I'm not gonna say Plants vs. Zombies or Worms, because I put so many freaking hours into those, but that doesn't count. I'm like playing a game, like from start to finish, story mode. Yeah, Plague Tale, definitely. Another one is Danganronpa Ultra Despair Girls. Ultra Despair Girls, definitely. I probably did like 12 hours, maybe. That's a game that some people think of it as an RPG, you know, but it's not really. No, not in my opinion. It just has some RPG elements. Yeah, I will say that. Those two games are some of the longest I played. But I feel like I'm missing something else. Like, there's that one game that was like 20 plus hours long, and it's not an RPG. But I can't think of any. I play others like Alice Madness Returns, Enslaved, Odyssey to the West. Those, well, they were around the 10-hour long range. It's not really. So far, my best answer is that A Plague Tale. I'm pretty sure I did like 16 hours, man. Definitely. Thank you, Ashoka. Ashoka Tano. I grew up with Trigger, and he's my favorite all-time, but I love Cross too. Someone who played Trigger first and then loves Cross too. Oh man. You, sir, are a rarity. It's not that rare. You ain't that special, kid. I love the monk in Persona 3 Reload. Mutatsu, I love that guy. I love characters who are like trying to act cool and say, listen, kid. Like they say kid to everybody. Oh, it's the kid again. What are you doing here, kid? Because you know what I feel like when I'm 50 years old, I'm gonna be like that. I'm gonna be that guy who's like I'm gonna be a freaking sour puss and say like, you know, kid, when I was your age, kid, you know, I used to be into cool stuff. I used to like real music. What's real music, kid? Not the fucking things you kids listen to today. I wanna be that guy. What are your thoughts on Alice Madness Return? Well, that's one of my favorite non-RPG games of all time. I love it. Has its problems, gameplay-wise. Sometimes Alice is hard to control. The battle system, the battle mechanics, the controls aren't stellar, but it's still a great game with a lot of personality. One of the first iterations we ever got about Alice in Wonderland, but in a completely fucked up dark way. And I love the character, her dialogue, the crisis she goes through. Amazing character development there. I love the fucking game, man. Love the music, love the outfits, how she gets a new outfit on every chapter. I love the steampunk outfit, it's one of my favorites, man. Freaking love it. What else can I say? I love the hack and slashing, the bloody things about it, the music. Pretty good music. Some of the boss fights were pretty creative. Overall, it's a great game. Chrono Cross is for adults and Chrono Trigger for children. Oh, come on, man. I think well, I don't disagree. Cross is more of a mature story, more psychological and emotional, where Trigger is more, you know, friendly. I said that in my video, top 10 Super Nintendo JRPGs versus my favorites, that nobody watched. But it's there, if you want to watch it. That was another massive failure, but, you know, that's a series that I've been doing that it doesn't get a lot of views. I just do them for fun because I like doing them. Plus, it's an original idea. I came up with the idea. Nobody else did. They will rip me off at some point. But my point is that, yeah, I said the same thing in that video. But, yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of both games. What can I say? Are there YouTubers that play video game music on instruments that you like? No, not really. I mean, there's gotta be a million of them, right? But I can't think of one right now. There was this guy who made a really popular video playing the Maximum Carnage opening theme, and I forget his name. He's a pretty funny guy. He plays the guitar and he's laughing, you know, and smiling, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? Playing that song right there, that badass theme like that. But I forget his name. He has a lot of subscribers. I think he has like millions of subscribers if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. Anyway, I don't follow anyone in particular. Have you played Eternal Darkness? Yes, Kiss. Didn't you ask the same thing like 10 streams ago? I didn't finish it. I played the first part with a girl, but then I changed characters to this guy from, I don't even remember, man. It's a good game though, but I can't comment much on it. All I can say is that the girl was sexy and beautiful and badass, and I love her. Would love to try a remastered version of that game or something. What don't you like about Final Fantasy X? I don't like Tidus. I think he's a terrible main character. He's a clown. Zidane was a better clown, more interesting clown. Tidus is kind of like, fuck this guy. What else? Everything else is fine. Not much negativity to point out about Final Fantasy X. It's just the main character himself. I mean, I could go on. Oh yeah, better than Van. Anybody's better than Van, man. Anybody. Freaking Jesus. Uh, Great music. The cast is interesting. I don't like Riku, but there's always that one character, right? I'm not gonna bitch about that. Even some of my favorite video games of all time have that one character that I don't like. Tales of Legendia. Like freaking Norma, man. Like, fuck. Well, she grows on you. Oh, man. A bad example. But she's like a fuck Norma. Yeah. Apart from Tidus, there's not much. Waka. Fuck that guy too. I mean, it's just a boring character. Like, what the hell were they thinking? He also kind of grows on you, though. Not much to say about Final Fantasy X, man. It's just my biggest gripe is freaking Tidus, and that's it. I guess I could complain about the fact that there's this difficulty spike when you fight Sin, the final form. Not the true form, no spoilers, but before that. It's such an unfair, ridiculous difficulty spike. The puzzles in the dungeons were like, fuck, man. Okay, so that's part 2. My number 2, my number 2 biggest complaint about Final Fantasy X, the freaking puzzles, man. Fuck those puzzles, man. Can kiss my fucking Mexican ass. Yuna is a better protagonist than Tidus? Well, in Final Fantasy X, before she goes idol-like. Commercial during the live stream means you are monetizing this stream. Nice. I'm always monetizing these streams. Always. But you barely get any ads because it's live. And I get like $1. Seriously, after the stream, well, probably because after the stream is over, like 2 or 3 hours later, I unlist it. But every Q&A, out of the ads alone during live, I get like $1, man. So yeah, thank you commercial for giving me $1. I'll be able to buy another bottle of water, man. What was the name of the sword girl in Tales of Legendia? Chloe. Chloe Valence. I fucking love her, man. How dare you? Don't like her? How dare you? I love her, man. Oh, you like her? That was a true waifu. Yeah, that was a true waifu of Senel. Yeah, Senel and Chloe are like Rin and Laura in Trails. Like that's canon right fucking there. And if you disagree, that's fine. It's okay to be wrong. What spin-off do you like better than mainline? I like Mega Man Legends and Net Battle over mainline Mega Man. I can't say the same. Well, I really like Mega Man Legends 2. And I guess I will play Mega Man Legends 2 over any other Mega Man in existence. Except Mega Man X Command Mission, but that's another spin-off. So yeah, there you go. I have the same answer. Mega Man. I prefer the RPGs over the platformers, which are punishing every single one of them. But there's gotta be something else. What spin-off? I'm gonna cheat. Okay, Nier. What? It's a spin-off. It was created as a spin-off. Sure, nowadays it's its own series like Persona, you know, but Nier was just a spin-off of Drakengard. So there you go. It counts. Persona, no. I love Persona, but I like Shin Megami Tensei mainline more. Obviously not. No. Yeah, Nier is my answer. Can you tell us a quick top 5 JRPG waifus? Laura, Aegis, Mitsuru. Damn. That wasn't that quick, huh? Who else? Tifa. And Velvet Crow. Well, that would be a one heck of a waifu. Imagine being married. Imagine being married to Velvet Crow, man. Oh, man. Damn. She's 10 times angrier than me, man. Chloe, Chloe Valance? Yeah, but she's in love with Senel. I will have to be Senel to get her to be in love with me. Cosmos? She's, I mean, come on, man. Petra from Final Fantasy 3, Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Oh, wow. That's a good choice, man. You know me, I'm a Nedelgard guy. But why you guys, every Q&A is the same. We always end up talking about waifus, goddammit, you know. Goddammit, man. No, I'm not answering any waifu stuff. No way. So, do you eat spicy chips? Is that really a better topic than the waifus? Skycatcher Gaming? Do you guys have cancelled games that you wish happened? I can't think of any. Well, here's one for me. Okay, this was never cancelled because it never existed to begin with, but it was planned. And that's Project Cross Zone 3. It was supposed to happen, it was going to happen, there were some deals to include some characters, like Bayonetta. Bayonetta was gonna be there. And all of a sudden, the director of Monolith, no, the director of Project Cross Zone and another important guy, one of the designers, they quit. So now Project Cross Zone 3 is probably never going to happen. I can't think of a better answer than that. It breaks my fucking heart, man. Big fan. Oscar showed up. Happy birthday, man. Everybody, today is Oscar's birthday. He just turned 60 years old. 60, but he kind of looks like 40, but he's 60 years old. So happy birthday, Oscar. Thanks for showing up and thanks for stopping by. And thanks for the good time yesterday. Well, man, thank you, man. I had a blast too. So I'm glad to know you had a great time. It's the mandatory topic every Q&A, the waifus. You got, I mean, it's just... You see, 10 people left because of that. We offended 10 people. Best husbandos? Well, that's up to you guys. Not interested in guys. I like girls. Like, seriously, Claude or Dimitri? Kiss? Seriously? Neither. Edelgard? Forever? Erick, serious question. They should have made Tifa's... Man, they should have made Tifa's boobs bigger in Final. Yeah, I agree, man. Oh, man. Thanks again, Ashoka Tano. Muse is the best. I love Muse. Wanna say something? Let me see if I have the... Oh no, I might get demonetized. And I might offend women here. I mean, I guess out of respect for women, I shouldn't do this. She's not... No, I don't have her. She's in my hard drive. But yeah, I like Muse. Muse. Who do you think is the best Trails character with no spoilers if you can? To me so far, Randy. Randy's one of the best, yeah, but I love Estelle, and I love Laura. And I love... What the fuck happened here? There we go. Yeah. My answers are gonna be like girls, man. Randy's one of the most interesting male protagonists, I mean characters, but you know, it's just the girls, man. What are your thoughts on Final Fantasy IV DS Remake? Unfortunately, I barely touched that remake, so I have no opinion. It looks great though. I've seen the opening cinematics. I played a little bit of it, and it was alright, but you're asking the wrong person. Hard drive, I get it. No, man. Imagine Tifa has Eve of Stellar Blade's body. Will you drool? She already has that body. She's just kind of censored in Rebirth. I'm gonna play Stellar Blade because of the girl. And I am not ashamed to admit that. Plus, it's a hack and slash. I mean, seems to be like an action RPG. I'm gonna play it, man. I just really hope they release a demo of it. I'm looking forward to it. Comes out in... when does it come out? I think it comes out in April. Well, someone's gonna know. Someone please do me the courtesy of Googling it. When is Stellar Blade coming out? I think it's on April. So that means... oh man, if it's on April, it's gonna destroy... oh, 26, fuck! So we got Eiyuden Chronicle 23, Stellar Blade 26, Sandland 26, fuck! That's gonna be like in January, Yakuza versus Persona 3 versus Grand Blue Fantasy. Well, I guess if the games are good enough, all three will succeed. Obviously, I'm gonna give priority to Eiyuden Chronicle. But I'll see what I can do about Stellar Blade. I really want to play the game and cover it. Plan on playing the new Dragon's Dogma, or is that not your thing? Not really my thing. There was a demo released, but it was just about character creation. I was like, what? Like, what kind of demo is that, Capcom? That's not a demo. That's just, hey, here are all the races and colors and forms you can build your character with. Thanks for playing. Oh, and by the way, your character will load in the actual release of the game. That's the worst fucking demo I've seen in my life. That's not even a demo. It's just the hell, Capcom. Plan on Stellar Blade demo will be released by accident. Oh, was released by accident, but since then it has been delisted. Damn. Wish I could have played it. But if it was released by accident, that means it exists. Right? There's a demo, so it's confirmed. We will probably get a demo. Hopefully. Oh, man. Favorite Western RPG? Oscar, are you gonna play Stellar Blade? Are you still mad because of the trolling of last night? I think he's gone. But you can't play Stellar Blade, Oscar, because that's a Mona China, an anime girl. Oh, he's gone, isn't it? He's not even going to reply. Anyway, favorite Western RPG, The Witcher 3. Yeah, it used to be Dragon Age Origins, but now it's a close second. There he is. I will play Stellar Blade, but not because of the fencer. Everybody's gonna play that game because of the fan service. Everybody, no exceptions, even girls. Like, come on. Oh man, I'll play it too. It's apparently gonna be an exclusive on the PS5. What are you gonna do? Oh, because of the because of the plot. You know, because that's why you played Nier Automata, right? Because of the plot. And I'm serious, that was one heck of a plot. I've always said this, man, if Nier Automata had no fan service whatsoever, or hell, not even girls to begin with, I will still recommend the game to death. That's one heck of a story and one badass gameplay, man. Didn't need the fan service, but I'm not complaining. Eiyuden Chronicles physical release on the Switch has been delayed for non-Kickstarter supporters. Well, sucks to be you. Save up and get your games. I did not get much games this month aside from Unicorn Overlord. I got Persona 3 Reload thanks to a fan. I'm about to finish it. And I guess I'm deciding between Fire Emblem Engage. I mean, I gotta play it, even though those first 2 hours left a lot to be desired. But it's Fire Emblem, man. I gotta play it. And then Yakuza Like a Dragon 2. Was it like Infinite Wealth? I gotta play that one too. I got a lot of games to play. And now my sister's coming. And she's gonna do a little game hunting next weekend for me. See what she can grab. And I'll have more games. Well, it's for the sake of this job, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I gotta buy my games. Gotta play my games. Right? I love that it turned out Eve was a real woman and leftists calling her unrealistic look like the idiots they are. She's an actual Korean model. The leftists were mad. I thought that will be like more like the conservatives. Anyway, who cares? Politics nowadays, just... My girlfriend always pointing out the cuties in the games I play, and they are always girls. Everybody loves fan service. You see, Oscar? You see, man? Shit, man. What's so embarrassing about admitting that you like the girls, that like fan service? I mean, yeah. What do you think about Sugunai Atonement? Well, my friend, that's a really obscure game on the PS2, exclusive to it. Was never released anywhere else, not even digital. Or was it digital on PS3? I don't remember. That's with music by Yasunori Mitsuda, by the way. A good story. Interesting plot about your protagonist is basically a ghost. He dies at the beginning, you become a ghost, and you're supposed to atone for your sins by entering people's bodies and controlling them to perform several different quests. That's fucked up now that I think about it. Wow, that's such a unique game. How many other RPGs can you think of that are like that? That's a very unique premise, right? But the gameplay is not that interesting. It's just your traditional average turn-based RPG. So the appeal of Sugunai Atonement is that you're this. I mean, the premise, the story, that you're this guy, and you enter these people's bodies, and then you fight with them in turn-based battles, and that's the appeal of it. The storytelling, right? The music maybe too, but the gameplay is just that. I mean, it's quest-driven. It becomes repetitive. You go complete a dungeon, but fight some enemies, beat a boss, come back. It's a good game, but it's not that great of a game, you know. I never finished it. Do you like the beat 'em up Yakuzas? Oh, well, I played the first one on the PlayStation 2 a long time ago and couldn't really get into it. I'm not really a fan of Yakuza. I'm a fan of the RPGs, like Yakuza Like a Dragon. That was a blast. But the other games, you know, I love Judgment and Lost Judgment, which are pretty similar in terms of storytelling and gameplay mechanics, right? So because I'm a fan of those games, I might give the series a chance. But right now, I can't answer that question because I'm not really a fan yet. If it comes to PC, someone will mod CJ in Stellar Blade, so maybe then. Probably. That's why people want Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on PC. It's the only reason why. Did you ever play Sleeping Dogs? No. I know the game, but I know. Hey, sweet. What's your top 3 RPG with interesting story but crappy visuals? Crappy visuals. I thought it was gonna be like crappy gameplay because I made a top 10 like 2-3 years ago about that. But crappy visuals, like great story, crappy visuals. Vandal Hearts. I wouldn't call them crappy. The style is certainly unique, but it's ugly. It's fucking ugly, Vandal Hearts. Well, the Archer girl looks kind of sexy. She looks pretty sexy, but she's still kind of... I mean, it's ugly character design and art style. But the story, the gameplay, it's just phenomenal. But yeah, I wouldn't exactly call it crappy visuals. But it's freaking ugly. What else? can't think of any right now. Maybe Lord of Magna. Lord of Magna Made in Heaven. The art style is good, but the in-game graphics and the chibi characters, they look freaking dumb. And it just loses appeal. It's such a great game. But yeah, I mean, you get these chibi characters with huge heads, and you control those characters, so that's like meh. I can't think of another one right now. Need to drop off. You have a great Sunday too, man. Had a blast today. It's your birthday after all. Happy birthday again, man. My number 3 crappy visual. I feel like I shouldn't have mentioned Lord of Magna. It does not belong in there, but I don't know, man. What about you guys? What else? Crappy visuals, you know, that's a hard question, man. Are you guys bitching about the hypocrites? The wokies? Infested Atlus and Sega? Those guys have always been like that. Persona 1, PS1, I'm looking at you. Anyway, just gotta have more flops like Forspoken. I didn't play Forspoken. I was like, man, doesn't appeal to me. And then he got a lot of bad reviews, right? What happened with that game? Was it bad? I don't know. I barely know anything about Forspoken. All I know is that it's an action game published by Square Enix with a girl as the main character. That's all I know. What happened to it? Is it okay if I play Persona 2 Innocent Sin only as a standalone without needing to play Eternal Punishment? Sure. Yeah, Innocent Sin happens first. Innocent Sin is the first Persona 2. Eternal Punishment is a sequel. So yeah, I think you're gonna be fine if you just want to play Innocent Sin and not Eternal Punishment. Would you rather play only action-based RPGs for the rest of your life, or give up the genre in general? I guess I will give up the genre. Seriously. I mean, you're asking me to give up turn-based and strategy RPGs? No fucking way, man. No. I love action RPGs, but no way. If every single RPG in existence will be, including indie RPGs, action, I will give up the genre. So, the Forspoken studio got shut down. That's what happened? But did it get shut down before the game was released? Or what's the deal? Rulif is saying Forspoken is a good game. Forspoken made that studio get closed. It was that bad. Oh. But why is it bad? I mean, the controls are bad. The story is bad. The gameplay is bad. Too political, too woke, too non-woke. What? Come on. Bad writing. So it's probably woke. It is woke, and the girl is very feministic. She a feminazi. Terrible story. I heard gameplay was okay. Okay. The sales were too low and the game was expensive. Okay. I'm not gonna play it. Did you ever play the Mercenaries sagas? Yeah, there's a ton of them. I only played the first 3. And they're good games. They're kind of slow and generic at first, but once you get to the end, you appreciate them more. They get better. But they aren't... The ones that I played are not like, ooh man, you guys... Hey you guys, you need to play these games. No. They're good games though. I like them. From Argentina. I just had dinner last night in an Argentinian restaurant with Oscar and other friends. It was a Harry Potter copy type of gameplay. Forspoken? Forspoken, it was a Harry Potter copy type of gameplay? Were you some kind of magic student in a magic academy playing with other students in there? I watched the trailers, I remember it was nothing like that, but if you say so... Oh man. I don't know, man. We're talking about Forspoken. But I haven't played it. Nah, magic real time. Okay. Just not with a wand. Okay. You know what? I'm not gonna play the game, but if you guys say that's what's wrong with Forspoken, so now we know. Now I can use that for a clip on my second channel. Oh man, okay, best and worst memory of a game that you did with. Okay, I made a video about that. That was like 5 years ago. It's on my main channel. It's called The Stupidest Thing I've Done in an RPG. There's some really stupid story about Spectral Souls on the PSP. About Final Fantasy VIII. There, check it out, Yum Yum. It's called The Stupidest Thing I've Done in an RPG. Have you ever played any of the Magna Carta games? Yeah, I'm a big fan of the original on the PS2. Well, that's the second game, actually. I didn't play the first game on PC. Korean only in Korea. Magna Carta on PS2, that's a really good game. Underappreciated, I really like it. And then there was the 360 game. It's good, but it just wasn't as good. Let's leave it at that. Don't you think the Persona calendar system needs rework? Why? What makes you say that? Velvet. Is that an Ergo proxy? Oh no, that's just the girl from Evanescence. The girl, Ergo Proxy's look, the character Rei, she got her look thanks to Amy Lee. I remember. Not a fan of the band, but yeah, that's it, right? What do you think? What makes you think the Persona calendar system needs rework? What's the deal with the SNES Fire Emblems? Looking at snagging the English translation, but I'm worried if they are painfully difficult. They are painfully difficult. Painfully difficult, man. Like with a capital P. They're very good though. I do recommend them, but get ready to play some of the hardest, super stupidly hardest strategy RPGs of all time. That's coming from a guy who has a lot of experience in strategy RPGs. I've played probably hundreds of them. And those two, holy macaroni. Well, I'm not gonna play Forspoken, guys. What do I think about Vagrant Story? I couldn't get into it. I thought it was a story with a game with a great story, interesting visuals. The girl was pretty damn hot, but the gameplay ruined it. I don't really like the battle mechanics in there. I couldn't get into them, and it was just kind of boring. The entire game takes place in this dungeon, and it's kind of uninspiring, to be honest. I don't know. Vagrant Story is a great game. Don't take me wrong, but I just couldn't get into it. But I don't have a lot to say against it, you know. I think it's a great game. Is there going to be a Rage Quit video part 6? There definitely, at some point in the future. This year, maybe. I don't know. Why, you guys miss the Rage Quit videos? Do you guys want more Rage Quit videos? Have you played Destiny of an Emperor? No, man, I really want to. That's an NES game, right? It looks really interesting. I'd love to play it one of these days. I will play it. You're not the same person who asked the question. The calendar system that sucked in Persona was in P4 because it was all about the weather. If it is bad, you can't do anything. If it is good, you have too much choice. I've never had any issues with the calendar systems in any Persona games. More rage? Well, there's two reasons why I don't do the Rage Quit videos that often, more often. One is because YouTube doesn't like them, because of all the swearing and anger and negativity. But the second reason is because I don't feel they have a big audience. Probably because of the first thing I said. But and it's not like every single JRPG I play pisses me off. So even if I wanted to, I couldn't make them very often. You know, I have to wait. Like I really need to build up a solid list, right? Because there's been games in the past that some part of it pissed me off, but that's it. You know, I mean, it just can't make it to the video. You know, I don't have much to say about it, but I always had to come up with 10 that like really did a number on me, man. And so far, the only spoiler I can give you is none. No, there's some. I'm just like, I don't want to spoil anything. There's a couple of them. They're like, oh my god, I just can't fucking wait, goddamn it, to bitch about them live. I tried Shit and the Wonder, finally too hard. Well, the Shit and the Wonder games are like roguelike RPGs. They are supposed to be like stupidly challenging. Eric, what is your biggest gamer rage moment? Ever broken controllers? What game was the cause of the rage? Watch my rage quit videos, man. Most of those games. Man, thank you, Yum Yum. So, he says, I missed the last Q&A, but what is your opinion about emulation? Because they've been removed in some sites left and right. This may be $7 for you, but this might help getting you into shaving. Yeah, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this fucking beard, guys. I'm tired. It's going to go away. I'm gonna answer the other question first. Okay. So what was the question? Oh, my biggest gamer rage moment. Yeah, so I don't remember. I just have a lot, man. I think one of the biggest ones is Grow Lancer Wayfarer of Time on the PSP. That's a game. There's a lot of JRPGs that I played in my life. Or is this open also to other genres? Because if it is, you know, freaking Castlevania, Battletoads, Ninja fucking Gaiden. But if we're sticking to JRPGs alone, there's been a lot of JRPGs and they only have like one or two things, like Baten Kaito's Origins. That was one of my biggest rage quit moments of all time, because no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't beat the freaking bird on the second disc, and I got stuck in there. I saved right before it, and I couldn't go back, because you get stuck in an island, and you're fucked no matter what you do. You're fucked in there, you're saving there, you're fucked. Like, that's, like, ooh, man. That's one of my biggest ones, but it's just one thing about the game. Whereas games like Grow Lancer Wayfarer of Time, that's like 5 fucking missions in there that are like you just want to kill yourself, man. You want to kill your fucking self in there. And then there's also games like Xenogears. Xenogears, most of the dungeons, because of the camera, the encounter rate, and the loading times between battles, in and out of battle, and oh my fucking game, man. I love Xenogears. I'm as big as a fan as some of you guys are, but it's just that fucking Star Ocean Till the End of Time. There's some really annoying puzzles that are like, Jesus. Yeah, we could go on. So Yum Yum about emulation, that's just bad. That's just the usual. It's been companies have been fighting emulation forever, and sometimes they focus too much on it and several websites shut down, and then they leave it alone and emulation websites find their way again into the surface and stay active for a long time until companies strike again and it loops. You know, it just goes on forever. It's been going on for 20 years. So it's nothing new, it's the same old story. The same old song and dance. Last questions, guys. You really liked my Loop 8 stream? Yeah, I think I've decided to stream only one game a week. Not that often as before, because they are once again destroying the algorithm of my channel. And I know I said earlier today that I don't want to give a shit about it anymore, but I kind of still do, even if it's a little, because this is my channel, this is what I do for a living, so I have to care no matter what. But yeah, thanks for being a fan of the streams, guys. More will come in the future. Both good and bad RPGs. Speaking of Baten Kaito's origins, is it true that one has a steep learning curve? Yeah, kinda, yeah, because it's such a unique battle system that it's like no other. Yeah, it's kinda hard to get into, but it's so worth it. Both games, man. I haven't played Chained Echoes. I will watch it again if you stream it again. And now you want a full playthrough of Loop 8? Have you finished the game Destiny Connect? No. Only tried a little bit of it. That's what I think I've only talked about that game in one video, right? That's why. What are your thoughts on the next game from Fire Emblem Echo series? Fire Emblem Echo Scars of Yggdrasil. What? Fire Emblem Echoes is a series now? Fire Emblem Echoes is a remake of Fire Emblem Gaiden on the NES, man. So now it's gonna be a series? What? What the hell, man? What the hell, man? What is your favorite color for a GameCube controller? Don't really give a damn about colors, but you know me, I dress in black all the time, so I guess that answers your question. Sony recently hired 2 PCSX2 MUX developers. Not all companies are against emulation. Sony is against emulation. They have to be. But when that happens, it's like the CIA or the government, right? They are against hackers and shit, but then they hire them. Oh man, top 10 difficult learning curve JRPGs. I got one for you. I made last year a video called top 10 most complex JRPGs ever. There you go. That's pretty much, I made that video. Pretty successful video, and there's also a joke about dogs at the end. Stupid fucking dogs, man. I love him. Thanks for watching, everybody. That's it. I gotta go now. Thanks for hanging out. This was episode 100. We made it to 100 episodes, goddammit. And I had a fun time as always. So, yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. And, well, stay tuned for more content. And, yeah, some different videos and ideas are gonna be there. So, hope you enjoy the new stuff. Near. This song. What a great song to end the stream.